You're watching with Craig, Chris, and Andy.
Yes, get in. It worked first time.
Good work,
Right.
boys. I feel like this
Afternoon
is going to be a
Delight.
good one.
Afternoon Delight, part 5. We've got to part 5.
This is
Amazing.
5 out 5 is halfway to 10.
Indeed. Good
Good
math.
maths, good maths.
How many of these would constitute a series?
Ooh.
A minimum of 6.
Yeah, 6.
Do you reckon?
So as long as we make it to next week, we're good.
A Ricky Gervais special, 6 in the season.
And
Yes.
are we going to do like an end of series special edition, or is it just going to be the same old?
Well, we'll see. We've got next week, maybe the week after. We get to 7, and we'll see after that. Maybe we could do a special of some sort.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a special guest on for the end of season.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get a real person, not one that's been made up. But we'll get onto that later.
Sure. Just don't start. So how your week's been, Andy? How's your week been? All right.
Yes, thank you. All good. I was back at work on Tuesday, so been pretty busy, but yeah, all good.
Good stuff. Chris, better week than last week.
Yeah, great week. Loving life, loving life.
Fantastic. Is that all I'm going to get?
That's pretty much it with Chris, isn't it?
No
Okay,
complaints. No complaints. I've had a lovely time.
And you, Craig, I've noticed that the hair is not getting any shorter.
No, the hair's caused me problems, to be honest with you. But we've had no comments. No comments about the hair. No one wants to see me shave it, by the looks of it. So it remains. So
Well, I certainly do.
well, you're the only one. No one else has said anything. So we'll see what happens. But if we get enough people wanting me to shave it.
I
got
enjoyed
an
this
idea.
point we got here in the middle.
End
I
of
think-
end of series show could be the live Craig getting his
Well,
hair shaved live on the show.
If people want that, then they've got to let me know. Do you know what I mean? If people really want to see me with a shaved head,
Like and
I-
subscribe.
Yeah,
Like
comment
that,
down
right?
below. Comment down below.
please, by all means, we'll see what happens.
If that's the only thing that we can possibly do on this podcast to get people to want to watch it and share it, is to get you to shave your hair, then that's a sad state of affairs, isn't it?
It is a bit of a worry, but if that's what it takes,
Of all the hard work that we're putting into good, honest football chat, and the only thing that will get anybody to watch this is knowing that if they log on, they get to see a grown man have his head shaved.
It's our USP.
Yeah, absolutely. We know what our watchers want.
Anyway, Craig.
Yes.
The all-important question:
Yeah.
have we had any messages, any emails since last week?
Okay. Emails. We've had a lot from Twitter, but they all tend to be from like Sky Sports, whoever we've subscribed to. So nothing of any note at all, to be honest with you. I'll probably get an email soon to say that we're out of space on the account due to Twitter emails. But nothing else. No. On the page, we've had a lot more viewings. I think our admin, or what's the title? What's the title?
Chief Operating Officer.
Chief Operating Officer has done a good job helping getting that up. I think we've had 400, 500 extra views or video watches or whatever, so that's really good. So we've got a bit more traction on that, which is good. Comments, all good comments I've heard. A lot more people watching it than I actually thought, which again is good. I've heard comments from. Only one comment directly on last week's video, which was basically about the Roy Keane debate. So we had one of our watchers, listeners, say that Roy Keane considered him to be in the same league essentially as Gerrard and Scholes and Lampard, whilst obviously they're not part of the thing we were talking about, being foreign imports. They're saying that basically they see that person, Roy Keane, as being as good as those players. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that.
Yeah, I would say fair enough. I think the discussion was specifically about the fact he'd been put top of the European imports list, which I think we all agreed there was probably, I guess, probably flashier players or more impactful players that we put ahead of him. But obviously, yeah, he's a top draw player, isn't he? So there's no dispute on that.
Well, you can't fault his abilities, but we just didn't agree with the number one ranking, I suppose, was our opinion, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Boys, I've just noticed that I'm on my mobile and I'm running out of battery, so I'm just going to flick over onto my MacBook. So just give us a sec.
Okay, no worries.
Cheers.
Hey. Oh yeah, Craig, you want to mention our new Q&A feature?
Indeed, yes. We've got 2 videos out there now. Monday with Andrews, Mine went out there Wednesday, so it's there for you to watch and enjoy. It's a bit of info on us. Chris is going out tonight, so look forward to that.
Very good. He doesn't know that yet, but his
No.
face suggests he's probably going to have to do it after this.
Indeed, yeah. Enjoy. Yeah, I hope you're enjoying them and find out a bit of information about us if you didn't already know. So that's good. So yeah, it's all happening. All happening.
Very good.
Cool. Yeah. So
Before we get stuck in, there is a question that both me and Chris were very keen to address and ask you. Have there been any developments on the whereabouts or possibly the existence of a inverted commas, the Will Murdoch situation?
wow.
Will Murdoch, aka Craig Webb.
It's a genuine person. Yeah, it's a genuine fan of the show. He does exist. Okay. I said I'd get you some proof this week, so I've got you some proof. Okay. Bear with.
Is it a photo?
Yeah. So we've got a
Careful.
photo.
Careful. That's you with some Just for Men.
That's an obvious Photoshop.
What's on his head? It looks like he's got a wig that's about to land on his head.
I think it was a curtain or something. I don't know. Okay. So not just that though, not just a photo. Okay. Got a bit of audio as well. Okay. So if you listen out.
Hi, Craig, Chris and Andy. I'm Will Murdoch. Loving the show. Keep up the good work.
No.
That sounds a bit like Rob Shike, who did
I was
one
just about to say that's Shikey, that is.
yeah, it sounds a bit like Shike, who did one of our promo videos.
No, it's not Man Les. That's not a shot Man Les. It's a genuine person. Okay? Look, you don't believe me, that's fine. So next week, okay, make a promise that when we record this, I will get him on the call.
Well, you'll need to, Craig, because that's not proof.
Okay. I thought that would be fine. I thought that would be enough for you to justify that is a real person who's a fan of the show. Okay, but next week I will get him on the show to talk, chat for a few minutes just to prove. All right.
That photograph, the photograph proves that's a real person, obviously. But that photo could be of anybody. How can we put the photograph to? You could have just gone on Facebook and just grabbed the first photo you saw.
Okay.
That could easily be
I
a
get
photo of the actor that Craig's hired to come on next week.
Yeah.
Used all our budget on it. But look,
Craig said you must dress smartly for this photo and watch out for any falling wigs.
right, next week, okay? Next week, I'll get him on the show, okay?
Yeah.
See him in person, okay?
No.
Right,
Look forward to meeting you, Will.
brilliant.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Right, let's get on to the discussion then, guys, because it's quite a topical one and we want to get through as much as we can on it. So, question I posed this week is the Premier League end or continue? At the start of the week, we proposed it, but I said to you guys potentially we'll can it because it looked like things were going to go ahead. There was going to be a start to the season. Outlined Project Restart. We've got in early June, and they're discussing it this Friday. So I thought, we may as well can it. It's going to happen. And there's been a lot of stuff happened since that is put into doubt, really. So we've got the FIFA medical chief, Michael. I don't know how to pronounce his surname. Dehoog. I've no idea how you pronounce his surname. He's insisted that football should not return until September the 1st at the earliest. Basically saying about how can you social distance, testing is important, but you'd have to repeat it. What if someone became positive? You'd have to put the whole group or all teams into quarantine, etc. Obviously, we've got the Dutch, the Belgian, the French leagues, which have now cancelled as well on top of that. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So I don't know who wants to go first. What are your views? Where do you guys stand on the Premier League restarting?
Go on, Chris.
You want to go first? Okay. Well, for the benefit of you two and every die-hard Liverpool fan that isn't me, I want to see the league continue because the achievements that Liverpool have had this season, I think it would be heartbreaking if they didn't get what they deserved out of it. I don't know what they're going to do if they were to cancel the league, if they'd still be crowned champions, but it'd be tainted, wouldn't it? It'd be tarnished. It wouldn't be the same. But having said that, I think two big questions are raised. The first one being, if they were to cancel it, I mean, or let's say, for example, when do you say that the football will be back in September at the earliest, Craig?
The FIFA medical chief is saying that he recommends that it should not start until September the 1st at the earliest.
Well, there are two options. We either cancel this season, or almost at the end, and don't have next season, so cancel the 2021 season, or we cancel this season and have next season. And for me, it just doesn't make any sense to cancel a season that's almost complete for the sake of starting a new season that could just be declared null and void. Nobody loses out in that scenario, whereas plenty of teams lose out in this scenario. So that doesn't make sense. But having said that, as you already mentioned, the French, Belgian, Dutch leagues have now cancelled the rest of their season. So, as far as I can see it, we're going to follow.
Okay.
But
And
again, it raises questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Okay. Andre.
Yeah, what Chris has said is right. I think there's the medical part of it, which is like you don't want any of these footballers to be going onto a football pitch putting themselves at risk when countries have literally told people not to leave their houses for weeks and weeks on end. So why would you suddenly stick a load of players on a football pitch and maybe put them at risk of contracting it? Because it'll be a case of, instead of saying to a lad, I want you to go on the pitch and let him know you're there, it's going to be, I want you to go on the pitch and let him know you've got it. Or, so something like that. And trying to say it not from a Liverpool point of view, that if the season can't be finished, then they can't just give Liverpool the title because mathematically they haven't won it yet. You cannot crown a champion when they haven't mathematically won it, because for me that you then bring in the whole point and principle of the sport into disrepute, aren't you? You're basically saying, don't worry if you don't accumulate enough points to win the league, we'll give you the title anyway, just because you happen to be at the top at the point at which it gets cancelled. So if they cancel it, I think the season's got to be void, and I really, obviously I don't want that. That's the worst thing in the world for a Liverpool supporter. But so what Chris has said kind of could make sense, which is if the Premier League can start at some point and the remaining matches can be played, even if it affects next season, if they say that we're not allowed to play football until September the 1st, why don't we conclude the 2019-2020 season starting from September the 1st?
Well, we're losing one season or another, aren't we? We either lose this season or we lose next season.
Exactly.
So it doesn't matter if we sort of restart this season in next January, does it really?
And I don't see how the Premier League at this point can possibly implement Project Restart with whatever things they think they're going to put in place to allow it to happen. If the Premier League can do it, then why have the other leagues already cancelled? Because surely they'd be sharing the information. Those other leagues would be able to finish their seasons as well. So if they've already said they can't, I can't believe that the Premier League can possibly finish their season safely, and they'll be completely mocked and criticised by all the other leagues around Europe for having done something nobody else was willing to take the risk to do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I completely understand both your points of views about it. You've got the disappointment of Liverpool not winning the league when they're so far ahead, but you've got to kind of see past that and look at the side of health and safety and the risk for the players. You got the likes of Freddie Flintoff, who's now known as not a footballer, but he's saying, like, talking about Liverpool is it'd be gutting, of course it would, but you've got to look at the bigger picture. The amount of people dying, surely this is more important. So, like you say, for the Premier League to think that they can start seems crazy at this point. But then you've got to look at the German league, who are really pushing for a quick start to their league again. Yet you look at their numbers today of cases that they're back on the increase.
I saw they started rising again.
Yeah, so it is a difficult one. I can't see that they're going to be able to put it in place. I can't see a way. I thought maybe testing all the players before games and around before they start. But I mean, they're going to then pass each other on a pitch. I mean, they test them before the game. How long does test take to show if it's positive or not? How accurate are they? Are we 100%? You just can't. You can't prove it, can you? So any time it restarts, I think it'll be a risk.
As Andy said, if someone tests positive before a game, for example, what happens? Does the game get called off? How long again before that team's allowed to play?
Yeah.
How long do we wait?
Absolutely.
They play their masks when they're running around the pitch.
Well, this is it. This is what the medical chief medical guy said. What we're going to do: wear masks, make sure we can't go 2 meters between each of the players. Obviously, it's not going to happen. So,
Bubble football.
Say again.
Bubble football option.
Well, maybe.
I haven't thought about that.
So, I don't know. I think it's not going to happen anytime soon. So there is a discussion if it doesn't happen by a certain time, whether it be June, July, then it will be scrapped, and therefore they'll follow the same lines as all the other leagues. But a huge disappointment. But like you say, you can't hand the title to Liverpool on the basis that the league wasn't finished, and that's just circumstances, I guess. I don't know.
You wouldn't want it either, would you? If you're a Liverpool fan, well, some Liverpool fans are that hell bent on wanting to win the league after 30 years. They'll take if somebody hands them the league, they'll take it because they want it so bad. But if you're a level-headed Liverpool supporter, I think most of us would say that we don't just want to be given the title because, like Chris says, it'll be tainted and tarnished forever. It'll be like the Gerrard slipping over thing, won't it?
Liverpool would be the laughing stocks of the English leagues.
It would. Yeah, exactly. So, as for starting next season to end this season, I don't know. So I don't know if you guys have checked what the ramifications for relegated teams. What would be? Do we finish that and then what? Then you're saying what? Quit like blank a season, then don't have the next season. Then essentially,
for me, you can't if you're gonna void the season and not crown Liverpool champions, for example, then. For me, all of the other positions, whether it's Champions League, relegation, you can't award anybody anything, can you?
Exactly. What are you going to do next season? Is it just going to be this, just like practically restart it? So all the teams that qualify the Champions League at the start of this season, then go into the Champions League next season.
I think you've got it. You'd have to, wouldn't you? What else?
What if the Dutch leagues come out and said what's happening with their teams, where they are then? So presumably that are they just qualifying as they are, where they end, and that's it? Are the team at the top been named champions, or just literally just void the whole thing?
Because Ajax and the team in second place are on the same points, so they've not awarded a champion.
Oh.
It's been voided. Completely.
So then who qualifies for the Champions League then? Is that still classed as the teams that are currently in the Champions League places?
I don't know. We'd have to look. The other thing is the implication for teams in whatever position they're in the Premier League in terms of financial benefit. So, as you know, if you finish 14th in the Premier League, you'll earn X million pound. If you finish 10th in the league, 4 places higher, you could get X million more. So there's implications for teams, and they're talking about certain teams in the Premier League could be set to lose out on absolutely loads of money because they wouldn't have the opportunity to climb up the table and get the extra money that they might be able to get to. So there's all that kind of, and if somebody gets relegated, or if they decided to relegate people based on where they are now, you could end up putting some teams out of business.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. On top of that, you've got to consider the amount of money that teams are losing during this whole process of
absolutely
not playing.
It's a real tough one. It's a real tough one. I from what you guys have said, I hadn't really considered that to be an option. To be honest, I thought it was either continue it now or end it. But like you said, I think you've got to finish it. I don't think you can just say all teams as they are end where they are, and because the likes of Villa, etc. I think it's Villa who are currently in the relegation zone. They've got a game in hand on teams above, and if they won that game, they would come out of the relegation zone. So you can't class them as being relegated. So what would they stay in the league, and then the Championship teams would still be promoted because so you'd have a bigger Premier League. I mean, that's what's been mentioned, doesn't it, as an option, but I don't know. I think you've got to finish the league, like you say, and it just takes when it takes. And if it's up until Christmas, then that's it. And then they just void the rest of that next season and then start again. It seems the best solution, not just because I'm a Liverpool fan and I want to see Liverpool win the league, but I think there's too many problems if you just end the league and say, well, that's where we're at, and then that's it. There's too many issues.
There's no benefit to cancelling it and then starting afresh.
No.
I thought maybe that one of the ideas that could be, and I don't think I'm not sure anybody's mentioned this, just a thought off the top of my head, was that if you only start the league when it's safe to do so, but you do complete the existing season, what you could do is come January, February next year, is if all the leagues have now finished and you don't start a new season, you could have some kind of one-off sort of mini European sort of special cup thing that goes on for a few months, so at least fans get to watch some football and teams get to play football, because you'll still have the Euros coming up. Yeah. So maybe you have like a mini sort of, well, I don't know what you want to call it, like European sort of club championship where you get Juve, Man City, could be a group with some teams from Germany and Netherlands or whatever, and have like some sort of like mini Super League type thing.
Yeah.
It'd bring in money, and at least there'd still be some football to be watched. And it just means that we wouldn't have a normal domestic season next year. But that's just a thought.
Yeah, there's lots of things to discuss. I don't think either way, whatever's decided, everyone's going to be happy with what is decided one way or another. Some people are going to be annoyed and whatnot. I guess we've got to watch the space. They're having discussions on Friday, and we'll see what comes of that. So obviously we're recording this early and we put it out on the Friday. So, things may have changed by the time this goes out there, but we'll wait and see. We'll see what the proposals are and whether it's, whether the government backs it or not. If the government don't back it, then it's not a goer, and anything they propose anyway is null and void. So a lot of things to consider. And anyone watching this, whatever, please comment and let us know what you think, what your proposals are, anything we haven't discussed, etc. Any alternatives that we haven't thought of. It's an interesting one.
It's weird, isn't it? Because since we went into lockdown and all this sort of stuff has happened where football's been stopped and etc. I kind of completely stopped thinking about the Premier League and what was going to happen with Liverpool. Obviously, up to the point where it did stop, I was at the games and getting ready for a big season, and then all this. But you kind of forgot about it because other priorities took over. Trying to stay safe, trying to source food deliveries and all this kind of stuff. But just over the last week or so, things have obviously not settled down for everybody because there's still a lot of bad stuff out there to do with coronavirus. But having now spent a bit of time at home, I've started thinking about the football season a little bit more, and the idea of it getting voided is just like, it's heartbreaking, as you said, isn't it? So.
I don't about it. It's heartbreaking. No doubt about it. It'd be awful. As a Liverpool fan, it'd be awful. But I guess you've got to try and take that away and think about the whole, the safety thing and what's best for everyone, for the players and everyone. Because if anyone got ill or caught it and then were seriously ill, it would be atrocious. Wouldn't it be awful? It'd be the worst thing. So. All we can do is wait and see what's recommended, I guess, and see what happens. But fingers crossed they do finish the league one way or another. Again, like I say, not just for Liverpool to win the league, but just for the integrity, really, just to cancel it and void it off, and then start a new season would be. I think it feels the wrong thing, doesn't it? It feels the wrong thing to do.
Did you see that there was also talk about maybe playing the remaining games in certain neutral, well, not necessarily neutral, but only in specific grounds where they're more likely to be able to control social distancing and stuff. So they were earmarking, obviously, Wembley, but maybe only using certain stadiums for the games.
Yeah, Makes sense. It makes absolute sense. I guess it's an option they'll discuss on Friday, and they'll discuss all possibilities. I think the thing they're saying, especially UEFA, last week saying completing the season or seasons is the ideal scenario. That's the ideal. So they all want that to happen. It's just whether they can do it within the safety guidelines of what the medical people are saying, I guess, and that's what will be discussed. So that's certainly an option that would make complete sense. And obviously with them streaming it, or they're going to be putting it on normal TV, aren't they? Normal terrestrial TV, BBC, etc. I think it'd be a great thing for everyone to watch sport again. But we'll see. Be good for morale of everyone, wouldn't it? Everyone watches football, generally speaking, the majority do. So just to pick everyone up during this time to be able to watch it. But it's I say it's a safe thing to do. Okay.
Just
Anything
final thing. I'm just looking as you've been talking there, and it actually says that Holland's Eredivisie could actually reverse the decision to cancel the season.
Oh, really?
So it has been the title's been left vacant, with promotion and relegation has also been axed. But there are legal grounds. Some clubs are already exploring to take action. For example, there's a team in the second tier that will miss out on promotion, even despite being 11 points clear.
Yeah.
So they're saying that there's a chance that they could reverse the decision to cancel the season, as there's mounting threat of legal action being posed by some of the clubs.
That was mentioned, yeah.
There's a whole load of repercussions in the legally that could come of this as well.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll wait and see what happens, and next week we can touch on it. I'm sure after the announcement on Friday we can talk about it next week and see what's said. And okie dokie.
Good.
Okay, so sorry, Chris, do you want to add anything before we finish the topic? No.
Said it all.
Okay. So we move on to funniest moments in football. So looked at a few of these, or ones I remembered, etc. But we'll come to you, Andrew, for your selection. What's the funniest moment in football that you remember?
It was difficult to think of football in terms of football. Lots of great moments in football, and maybe we'll do a week where we talk about great moments in football, things that we remember. We thought, oh my god, that's amazing. Funny things, they're maybe less obvious sometimes, but the one that sprung to mind for me was the moment when Ashley Young, playing for Man United at Old Trafford, and I don't think many people, I'm not sure if people spotted it at the time, but it was all over social media, Twitter, the day afterwards, was Ashley Young berating somebody in the team from his position at right back, and just as he's got his mouth wide open, giving somebody some verbals, a pigeon shat in his mouth, and that for me, every time I see it, it cracks me up. Just the fact that he's giving somebody abuse, and the only reason his mouth is so open is because he's giving someone huge verbals, and it's a direct hit, it's a slam dunk, full on pigeon shit straight.
Perfection, isn't it?
You could. The aim of the pigeon was perfect. It was. So yeah, that was my number one that sprang to mind.
Amazing. Go on, Chris. What was yours?
Mine was. Where are you? Where are you? Let's be having you.
Oh yeah.
Good old Delia.
Classic Delia Smith moment.
Oh, that was cringy. I'm gonna have to watch that after. That's so cringy, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
She's saying that let's be having you.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Let's be having you.
She's hammered, isn't she? She's hammered in it.
Yeah, she's obviously been drinking the whole first half.
Yeah.
And I can't. What was the context of why she did it?
They were in a relegation scrap and they were losing at half time.
She went on at half time and did it.
Yeah.
Oh god, I have to look. I forget. I remember her saying what she said, but I haven't watched it for a long time, so I'm gonna have to have a look at that.
Yeah. She's proper slurring her words.
Quality moment. It's a quality moment. Really cringy.
Oh god. And what about you, Craig?
Mine's Kevin Keegan's rant. I'd love it. I'd love it from him. I love it. So got to be Keegan. Everyone knows the Keegan rant. It's hilarious. And then they went on and lost the title. Like,
Infamous, isn't it? Infamous.
it's class. It's class.
There's a.
Hilarious.
I was also. I think I mentioned to you before the call that I wasn't my number one, but I still chuckle a lot when I hear the Steve McLaren Dutch accent when he's having the Champions League press conference ahead of, I think it was when he was at manager of Twente and they were going to be playing Arsenal Champions League.
just adding a sh everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. And then the Joey Barton Marseille. I mean, what a crazy move that Joey Barton was ever at Marseille.
Yeah.
But again, in a French press conference, speaking in English, we're putting on a French accent and lots of I played in what you call Premier League, big games. Oh God,
His best Arsene Wenger.
yeah, his best Arsenal. Yeah, awful.
Why did they do it? It's just stupid.
To fit in when you can't the language.
Idiots. I got a couple more as well that I debated, which was Alex Ferguson and Mike Phelan when he pops a balloon and just shits
yeah.
I had that one. That was
jumps a mile and then gives him loads of abuse because he
yeah.
scared shitless. And then I don't know if you remember it. Stevie G when he goes out against Chelsea and then he goes to shake the ball boy's hand and the ball boy gives him a little a little wink as well. Classic.
Just remembered another one. Didn't Arsene Wenger slip on his arse at Old Trafford in his massive long coat?
I can't remember. I remember missing it. Did he miss his pocket? Didn't he constantly go for his pocket of his coat and he kept missing it or something?
There was one where I'm sure he had his long coat on at Old Trafford and he was doing something. He ended up slipping. He slipped over.
It might have been on a ball or something, or ball.
If Sonny's watching this, he'll know for sure. So Sonny, send us a comment afterwards and tell us because I'm sure he'll know.
Arsenal's coat is a funny moment in itself.
Yeah, it is.
Full on sleeping bag.
Have you got any more, Chris, that you picked out?
Well, I did have one that you two are bound to enjoy, and that's the beach ball incident.
Oh yeah.
Darren
Liverpool.
Yeah, great.
How mad was that? The fact that the beach ball was probably brought along to the game by a Liverpool supporter who was thinking that it was going to be party time. It ends up on the pitch and ends up conceding.
Yeah. That's the funniest thing about it, is that one of the Liverpool there's camera footage of one of the Liverpool fans punching it onto the pitch, and that happened.
That's great.
I got a David Dunn Rabona.
Oh,
Flat in his face, just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Di Canio pushing Alcock over referee. That was funny. The way the referee fell down. If you remember that.
Oh yeah.
11 games or something. He pushed him, or 9 games. Can't remember. He pushed him. And he sort of like the referee kind of just like stumbled over. It was hilarious. And then Henry and Perez, their penalty. Do you remember? That was horrendous, unbelievable, but hilarious. Now you look back at it, but what a mess up.
They did it again. They got it right.
So did it count?
They didn't kick it. They passed it. And he ran up and then stopped, and when his run up got messed up and it just didn't work, and then it got cleared, didn't it, or something?
Yeah.
Or did he touch it twice?
They tried it again another time and it worked.
Oh, you did, yeah.
I think Messi and Suarez have done it at Barca as well. So
yeah, someone's done it successfully. Yeah. But
what's the point? It's a penalty. Just whack it.
I know it's cocky, isn't it? It's one of the things that's cocky. It's just not. It's just stupid.
What about Lee Bowyer, Kieran Dyer's fight when they were at Newcastle? That was quite.
That was good. Got sent off as well, didn't they both?
Both got sent off, and I was watching this on Sky Sports the other day. No, it wasn't Sky Sports. I think it was the podcast with Shearer and Lineker. Shearer was talking about it because he was playing in that game at the time. The funny thing is that Tottenham and Newcastle were already down to 10 men when the two of them got sent off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they were down to 8 men after the end of that.
Oh, jeez.
That's scrap.
One more, the game gets abandoned, doesn't it?
Yeah. Bad. And the only one I've remembered was Duncan Ferguson when he punched. I can't remember when he punched against Wigan, and then Jimmy Bollard just like didn't know whether to sort of laugh or like he was like scared of him, but then he was also like smiling in his face.
Yeah, it's so funny.
What are you doing? that was classic. Jimmy Bollard's quite funny on the football field. I saw one clip of him there's a bit of a ruckus, and he literally just dives over. He's got like leapfrog, just dives over the group of players just because it's funny.
He's a
He is a fun man.
What we'll do then is we'll put as many of those as we can on a poll and see get people voting, see what they think is the funniest moment. Then just see if they agree with us with our choices. We'll get that on the page.
And if there's any others that people think of that we haven't mentioned, then drop them on the. Well, can they just put a comment straight onto the page?
We'll put others as an option, and we'll leave comments if there's anything else, or leave comments anyway if anything else you're aware of. The 3 that we've chosen, we'll upload videos of those, and we'll mention it's made on the page. So,
and can we can ask people maybe to make some suggestions for future topics. I think the reason that we've had this one this week was because Will that had suggested it, or had you suggested it, Craig?
No, we mentioned it. We said before we were going to discuss it at some point, but Will had certainly mentioned it to discuss. I think we'll talk about greatest moments possibly in the Premier League that you've mentioned, Andy. So we'll look at that, I think, next week. But yeah, we'll touch again on VAR after the discussions on Friday. I think it's good to look back at that and see what's going on with that, and maybe keep mentioning that each week to discuss where we're at with that. And then we'll come up with another topic at some point. But yeah, anyone got any ideas, wants to discuss anything, then please comment below. Subscribe. I think that's it then, guys. We'll get Will on here next week and prove to you that he does exist. Okay, genuine person, genuine fan of the show.
And we will follow up on the Premier League. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
That'll be interesting, and we'll talk about loads of other stuff as well, I'm sure.
Indeed. So, good stuff. Thanks, gents, again.
Thank you very much.
All right. See you all next week.
Yeah. Well,
all right. Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Rockets in flight.
Bye.
Afternoon delight. Afternoon delight.